Animated.
Say.
Animated.
Say.
Animated.
Say.
Animated sage talk.
We gotta break through. You heard that Joe Rogan's on Spotify?
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't see the details of it, but I know the deal is $100 million or something.
It's a lot more than 100 million.
More than $100 million?
Yeah, he's gonna probably get like close to 300 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because like they'll give him like signing fees of. They'll give him like bonus fees, and it's still his content, but obviously they're not going to give you the exact numbers, but it's roughly around 125 million to do that. So I'm just like, yo, that's good, man. He making bread.
Yeah, it's good. It's questionable.
That's what we gotta get, man. We gotta get.
Oh yeah,
we gotta build that audience so we can get 125 million. You know what I mean?
We almost there.
Shoot, hell yeah, man. All we need is like 100 more million views, and
that's it.
You know what I mean?
100 more million, probably a billion, and then shoot,
we'll be off to the races, man. Got to get that healthy alternative money, man.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen, but I think it's offering. That's got to be one of the biggest deals for anything in that realm.
Yeah, especially for podcasting. But that's the good thing though. It lets you know where, I guess, the direction of media is headed. Simply because Spotify is mainly known for music. But I guess what they're doing is separating themselves from other music platforms.
Right.
Like they're not just a hub for music. They're a location where, because like if you think of Apple, you immediately think of music, iPhone, iTunes, and all that stuff. But like they're playing the bigger game and looking at the bigger picture, because radio isn't as popular as it used to be.
No.
So most people are listening to podcasts. They have the choice to decide what they want to listen to instead of just being forced to listen to the same thing that you hear on the radio or so. And so having that option, Spotify, man, they doing big things. I wish Tidal, would kind of be in that realm just because, it's Hoves.
But they're fairly new. Spotify's been around for a while.
Yeah, it's not like they've been, but still, it's just like if Nike build a brand and Fubu decides to come up, I want to build my brand too, and you can capture that same audience that that Fubu that Nike had, and you attract the people who follow Nike to the Fubu brand or something like that. That should garner at least a few, but I feel like since they charge a little bit more, or they charge because you don't have to pay for Spotify.
Right. The Tidal is different from Spotify.
Yeah.
I think potentially Tidal is cornering the market. I mean, having exclusive music, like if you try to get Jay-Z stuff anywhere else, you're going to be hard pressed.
Yeah, it'll probably be. They just now placed, I believe, his catalog on Spotify.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they just now placed his catalog on Spotify, which is major, but still, it's. I mean, I understand the benefits behind being exclusive, but at times when you're being exclusive, you hide yourself from a larger audience.
Yeah,
I
mean, I don't know their numbers, but I'm sure they got a pretty large audience. I don't know their numbers, but I mean, from what I hear, because I'm not on Tidal, but from what I hear, I mean, cats be streaming millions and millions of views or listens on that thing.
Yeah, but it still has nothing. It's still not comparable to the audience or the captability of Spotify.
Right, because Spotify's free.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference. Of course, it's got the ads and everything, but yeah, I guess it just depends. I noticed that I've been asked to be a part of a couple different podcasts and rate podcasts, programs or apps. There's one I was supposed to launch in March, and their Android app, for whatever reason, just has not been developed. But they wanted to revolutionize podcasting by creating this interactive platform where you could interact, comment, and things like that, like you can on YouTube.
I think that's what they're going to do for Joe Rogan.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because like they're taking his entire catalog and they're placing it on there. But because the one cool thing is about Joe Rogan's thing is the comments. And like the comments that people leave, it's just it's real, it's hilarious. It's like its own community within that, within the community. Because I know when I watch any videos that's interesting to me, I like to read the comments. Like reading the comments and seeing people's perspectives. Some people are trolling, some people are legit, and some people they make like timestamps to like funny marks or stuff.
Right.
Do
those timestamps still work on the desktop? Do they work on mobile? Because they never seem to work for me.
Yeah, they work.
Oh.
I mean, are you putting them? If you put them in correctly?
It's even when I'm clicking them.
Oh yeah,
they just take me to the video.
Well, with if you're watching the video, people will leave like comments of like they'll have like 2- whatever, ha ha ha, this was super hilarious or something like that. And then if you're reading a comment, you can just click on it and it automatically goes.
Oh, you got to be watching the video.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know you're talking about like maybe if it's posted a link somewhere and then it gets directly to that particular part of a video.
Well, no, that's I know what you're talking about there, but I'm talking like when I'm on YouTube Studio looking through comments, they'll be like, when Chris said this, I like that or whatever, and then I try to click it, but I can't. It just takes me to the video. I gotta scroll, so I'm not actually watching the video. It's just the comment.
Okay, maybe there's something exclusive to that YouTube video part, but yeah, I do know when you're actually on the video and looking at the comments, you click it, bam, you get money, But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that someone as big as Joe Rogan decided to go to Spotify, and he announced it on his Instagram and also on YouTube. But like the comments, it's like, you sold out, man.
Yeah, he did.
You sold out.
He did. He's bought and paid for it. Listen. Joe Rogan is the biggest voice in radio, podcasts, that whole arena. And
I don't think he sold out.
Yes, he did, because back in the day, when he kind of very first started doing this whole radio podcast thing, he was a major truther. Major, big time truther. Then it seems like as his podcast started getting bigger and bigger, he flipped the script. He started having mainstream scientists on, and really just really being opposed to what he used to promote and what he used to say. Now you can say, "Oh, Chris, people change, they evolve, blah blah blah." No, not this. This was very, very distinctive. It's like trying to think how you could really.
But that's not fair. That's not fair to him.
Why?
Just because if he has an idea about something, and then someone, like a scientist or someone who's more of an expert than what he is in, they come along and they school him on something, he has a different insight.
Correct. But when the different insight is even factually incorrect, that's where I have a problem. I'm open to, me thinking something, not really having all the details, and then someone coming and explaining it in a way that's easily digestible. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And I change my mind. But this type of stuff, it's stuff that's obvious that's wrong. And now all of a sudden, he's like, oh, no, I was wrong. I was the one that's wrong.
Not to put you on the spot, but do you have any like evidence to back up that?
Yeah. I mean, when he used to be a very big moon landing denier. That was like his big thing. NASA, there are things that NASA has said out of their own mouth that allow you to know that they're lying or they're being deceptive or whatever the case may be. Like, for example, they said all of the telemetry data from when they went to the moon All those times is all gone. All of it. All of the telemetry.
I've never
data.
even heard that word.
So, it's like, quote unquote, the biggest accomplishment of mankind walking on the moon, and you don't have any record of it, and you don't know what happened to it. Stuff like that. I mean, that's just one small example. For example, they when they went to the moon on one particular journey, they brought back all these pictures. When you look at how many pictures they took versus how much time they had on the moon, all the scientific experiments they needed to do, having to put the dune buggy together, that vehicle they had up there, having to, take off and land. When you look at the full amount of time and the amount of pictures, they would have been having to take, I think in order to bring that many pictures back, it was something like 30 pictures a minute or something that they would have had to been taken to bringing back that many pictures. Don't quote me on the exact amount of pictures, but it was ridiculous how many pictures per minute they would have had to take in order to have been there and did everything they did and then came back with that many pictures. It's too many pictures. Then when you look at the pictures, there's so many problems with the pictures. There's a famous picture from the moon. So they're on the moon and they're taking a picture of the Earth. And the Earth from the moon looks to be a quarter of the size of the moon. Because like when we're on the Earth, you could tell the moon is just it's much smaller, right? That's how it appears. Well, on the moon, the Earth appears much smaller in this picture, which is not how it should be. The moon is a quarter the size of the Earth, supposedly.
So it's supposed to be way
So
way
it should
bigger.
look way bigger. But why is the picture? These are official pictures. So these are all things he was questioning, and there's no answer for it. You can't explain that away. Like, the Earth is bigger than the moon. You're on the moon. Why does the Earth look like it's the moon? Why does it look the same size as the moon? There's no way to explain that away. And then when you start breaking the pictures down, you can see they're photoshopped and edited and cut and pasted. And it's like, okay, these aren't even authentic pictures. These are the type of things he was questioning. And now all of a sudden he's like, no, NASA knows what they're doing. Everything's all good. They went to the moon. Even though there's no factual proof that they did. I don't know. Did they go to the moon? Did they not go to the moon? That's of no consequence. We're looking at the evidence that they've presented that said that they did go to the moon. And we're looking at all of the weird stuff that's going on. And it's just, nothing adds up. How did they get that dune buggy up there and have the time to put it together and bring it back? Like, how did they get through the Van Allen radiation belts that are extreme bands of radiation that encompass the Earth? Like, none of this stuff is being answered. And then when you talk to NASA today, they say they don't have the data. They say that they can't go back to the moon because of the Van Allen radiation belts. And it's just like, wait a minute, you already did that in a spaceship that had the computing power less than an iPhone. You did that 50, 60 years ago. What are you talking about? And so these are the things he would question. But now all of a sudden, Neil deGrasse Tyson's on his channel all the time. NASA this and NASA that. And see, with your stupid little mind, you can't perceive the antiquated equations of the quasar star. And that's the reason why you think the sky is blue, but in actuality, it's red. It's just like, they're just feeding us garbage. So that's my thing. That's the reason why when I see something like this happen with Joe Rogan, and every time he has Eddie Bravo on, and Eddie Bravo is a major truther.
Dude, I love
Yeah.
I love when Eddie Bravo is on, man.
Every time Eddie Bravo is on, Joe is constantly contradicting him and reaffirming the fact that Eddie doesn't know what he's talking about. Eddie's not a scientist. Eddie doesn't have the facts. Like, Eddie is speaking to millions of people and he's being irresponsible. He's constantly doing that. So I told you before, I don't trust him. He's not somebody that, I would, to have someone like me on his channel, like I mentioned, Dr. Buttar, who's very hot right now.
Yeah.
Like, how is he not on the channel? You watch him. Has he been talking about the COVID deal?
Joe? Yeah.
And what's his perspective on it?
That they still need this. I don't agree with a lot of his perspectives, but his perspective is mainly of the fact that people should get tested. People need to make sure they wash their hands and social.
And why am I not surprised?
Basically
Everything that the government is saying. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. He's the biggest voice in this arena, the new radio, right? And he always tends to lean towards. Now, there's going to be those times when he doesn't. But on the big topics, the major topics, I find that he always leans towards the mainstream point of view. And that's why I'm like, nah, he's bought and sold. And who's going to give him 100 million, 400 million, $500 million, whatever the case may be?
$250 million.
Like,
yeah.
People don't get deals like that. That is very strategic. Yeah, he brings in a lot of content. But is he worth almost $500 million?
Hey, man. If he's been number one consecutively, because he's been making $30 million exclusively just from his YouTube stuff. Just from YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to make money off YouTube like that.
And that's not, that's not counting the streams that he gets from his, from Apple.
Right.
Because he gets more streams on Apple. So, I mean, that, to me, I don't feel like that's anything out of the norm. Because people, I mean, that's
$30 million a year?
From YouTube.
Plus Apple, which we don't know. We're assuming another.
Well, not plus Apple, just YouTube alone.
Right, plus Apple.
Yeah, on top of that, that's whatever, I'm not sure what the number.
We can assume that it's more, or what you're saying, because he's getting more streams?
Right.
Okay. What else is he on? Because
I mean, he's on every platform. Now Spotify. Oh, no, he's mainly just on YouTube and Apple. It's just YouTube and Apple. Okay.
So, and that's all he does, right? He's not doing UFC.
Oh yeah, he's a stand-up comedian. He goes on world tours. He, he does his UFC stuff, and that's mainly his thing.
That's peaches and plums compared to the.
Well, I mean, he gets paid good money from
compared to the almost $100 million he brings in from podcasting. He says good money.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because he talks about some of it.
Well, what's good money? Because $100 million a year to me is phenomenal.
Yeah, but
even if you made $15 million off the other stuff, that's peanuts.
Yeah, but that's specifically off one source. Like if we're just talking YouTube by itself, $30 million.
I'm saying YouTube and Apple. That's $100 million.
Okay, we can assume. Let's say it's at least $30 million. That's from that. Uh-huh. Okay, so he'll be grossing what, $60 million from those. Okay, and then you take into account Netflix deals. He gets paid.
Stand-up deals?
Yeah, Netflix stand-up specials. He'll get paid for that. Also, when he goes on tour, you get paid for going to those arenas,
Yeah, for sure.
And that's money. In UFC, he's the biggest voice in the UFC community, as far as like commentary, because he's really good at it. And he gets in money from that. So, I mean, he's obviously he's eating good.
Yeah. He doesn't act like it.
He's eating good, man. But
he don't sit there when he's sitting there. You don't think he's the $100 million man.
You don't think that, but you can obviously like. The thing is, like, I feel like he's a really good dude, and just because it's kind of hard to fake being a genuine nice person. But I do see a lot of his frustrations happen when Eddie Bravo's on there.
Yes,
and. I think it's hilarious because when Eddie Bravo starts talking, he just starts going, and I love it. But Joe's always just like he's always gets like a little frustrated a little bit, but he keeps calm though.
That doesn't mean anything. So that is my point. And Eddie brings up a ton of good points. Eddie brings up a lot of stuff that I personally have researched. I remember. They were just debating something, and they were talking. He was just talking about how Rockefeller played an intricate role in, whatever the subject was. And I remember specifically, I was like, yeah, I researched that too as well. Rockefeller is the one who created the compulsory education system, like the schooling system, the way that we are taught in school nowadays in America, especially. Rockefeller designed that. Rockefeller, he also manipulated the medical industry. You know what I mean? So like there was a lot of valid points being made, and Joe constantly just reaffirms the fact that Eddie doesn't know what he's talking about. It's almost just like they use Eddie to create some type of overexposure to these sorts of topics, and then Joe is there to be like, see, Eddie's just a conspiracy theorist. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not a real scientist. Like, he's not doing real research. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in the minds of the listeners, there's like, whenever they hear those topics, they'll be like, Eddie Bravo talks about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I see a bigger picture. I'm not really mesmerized by his demeanor and how not. I think what you're saying is true, but that's why he's able to do what he does. And I'm not saying that he's a bad dude and he necessarily is like evil or whatever. He may not fully understand the ramifications of what he's doing, but I feel like he's bought and paid for.
Or what if he just honestly believes that, though?
Because what I said before, how do you go from that extreme to the other without having the evidence in between?
But but it's good to bring people onto your platform who has a profession in it. So like it would be if someone is a professional, like you're you focus on a healthy alternative stuff and things that you do. If you have natural healing things and someone was to speak on that or speak against that, he would invite you on the show so you can I guess talk about it in your experiences, your point of views. So I feel like he creates a fair playing field for people, just like when he did that. He brought on that that dude,
the game changer.
Yeah, the game changer dude. He brought him on and had him defend his stuff about that. So I feel like he does create a fair playing field when it comes to a lot of stuff, and he gets his information from the people who are professionals in their field. So that's the only reason why I say I can understand why he would change his point of view, because he's not a professional in a particular field. And I'm not saying it's like, hey, since he brought a professional on, this is the exact way. I'm just saying I can understand why.
You sound just like him. You literally sound just like him. You're regurgitating what he says. I'm not a professional. I don't know these things. I don't do this research. I don't know.
Right.
That's what he says. That's BS. You don't have to know truth. Truth is truth. You don't have to learn it. You don't have to have it explained to you. There are certain. So, for example, he had an anthropologist. Somehow all these words.
Yeah, I had a teacher in high school who was an anthropologist.
Anthropologist on, right? They're
Anthropology.
talking about dinosaurs and all this stuff because there's this theory that dinosaurs never existed. I don't know what type of research Joe has done, but if you look into the history of it, you notice that there's two main scientists at a particular moment in time that were going back and forth seeing who could find the most dinosaur bones, right? And history says, it turns out that a lot of the stuff they were digging up was fake and putting together is fake. But that's where most of the dinosaurs came from, that period of time. But we know that those two individuals are doing a lot of shady stuff, having fake bones manufactured and all this stuff. And yet we still believe the research years later. Those guys are dead and gone. But the people that are being taught based off the research that those dudes did. And now they're becoming professionals and they're looking at bones and they're like, okay, I was taught this is a dinosaur bone and it belongs to this particular dinosaur. They don't know what they're doing. They're just regurgitating what they were taught. These people aren't, and this is what I was talking about with Rockefeller. He's funded the infrastructure to create these people who don't know what they're doing. They're just regurgitating something they were taught.
And they think it's right.
And they think it's right because people came before them and already verified that it was right. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the danger of professionals. I'm not a wellness professional in the sense that I went and got an accreditation. I know what I know from personal experience. People don't do that. No one's learning how to be a doctor from personal experience.
Yeah, they're basically just studying. Yeah, and just.
Yeah, they're studying what they've been taught. So back in the day, when people were actually trying all these crazy methods, sawing people open and all this type of stuff, a lot of people were dying, you know what I mean? But nowadays, people are just taught, okay, if this happens, this is how you do it. And it's based off that research, that early research. But no one's doing that research anymore. So they can sprinkle anything in there. Oftentimes we find that, like, I never remember the names of these people because it's just not important to me at all. But there's the father of surgery. Whoever that dude is, I don't remember. It's some white guy. It's always a white guy. It's always a white guy. But it's the father of surgery. And even he said that surgery is like the last resort. If you have to go to surgery, you have failed. That's not the thinking of surgeons today. That's not the thinking of doctors today. It's the first thing. But when you go to the history and you look at the people who developed these things, they're like, look, this is a last ditch effort. If you don't know what the heck you're doing and you failed at everything else, then you cut the stuff out. So this is what I'm talking about. I don't trust professionals in the sense that, you know, it's not like a blanket statement like I don't trust any professionals, but I'm saying when the professionals are miseducated, how can you trust them?
But how do you fix that then? Like how do you take these professionals who think that they're doing everything that's right for the people or that's right in general and make them quote unquote be, you know, not go through surgery and fix things before it gets to surgery and stuff like that? How do you fix that then?
You start with children. You don't try and fix a 50-year-old man who's been a doctor for 30 years.
Because they're always gonna be stuck in their ways.
Yeah, you start with children, but that's what Rockefeller did, right? He didn't try and change the people who were there in 50 at the time. He said, all right, let's do education. Let's manipulate their education. Yeah. So you fix them you start with children. And my thing is this: teach people. Look, for people who are older and they're already whatever, you have to open your mind. You have to be open to the fact that you were taught something wrong, and you got to look at things logically and use your own senses and your own powers of observation. That's how you see this stuff. It's like, okay, I'll give you another good example, right? They tell you, well, let me ask you, do you know why they say that the sky is blue?
No.
Okay.
I would assume a reflection of the water.
You've heard that before. You've heard that before because that's what I've heard. Now, they change their official story every once in a while. When it was our generation, it was the reflection of the water. I don't know what it is currently. It could be something else. Someone in the comments be like, oh, you're stupid. It's this. That's not even it. Okay, that's not the point. The point is when we were children, we were taught it's reflecting the water. Now, they teach you the sky's blue because it reflects the water. We accept that.
But water's clear.
Now I want you to go get me a cup of blue water.
Right.
It's that simple. That's the level of manipulation. And so all you have to do is pay attention to your own observations. Like I said, truth is something that doesn't have to be explained.
Right. It is. It just is.
It is. Every day the sun rises. That's what makes it a day. That's truth. I don't need you to explain to me that, okay, it's nighttime right now, but it's really day because of where the sun is and the angles. I don't need all that. The sun rises every day. And so there's a difference between fact and truth. That's it. You know, fact is commonly agreed upon opinion based on evidence that's presented or whatever the case may be. So, you know, a doctor may be speaking facts, right? Statistics can be considered facts. Numbers don't lie, but these aren't truths. I don't know that there's 7 billion people. I can't count them.
Right.
I can't see them all. It's a fact that there's 7.3 billion people, but that's not the truth. I don't know that.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's, what's his name? I think Miguel Ruiz has a book about that. I can't remember, the 4 agreements or something like that, when he talks about stuff that's actually truth and things that people place on opinions and stuff. But yeah, I get you.
Right.
Yeah, I follow everything that you're saying. How's your temperature, man?
My temperature?
Yeah, man. You seem like I seem to got that engine revving, man.
I know. I saw you. over there eating it up.
I'm just like, oh, Chris is going in right now. Go ahead,
you
man.
know, because I've thought about this with the whole Joe thing, and I see the big picture, man. I see when they are priming us for some type of manipulation or brainwashing, and I've read about it in history. I think that's part of what gives me insight. Like when the doctors, the dentists were being conditioned, and the American people were being conditioned to believe that fluoride was okay to put in the different toothpaste
Yeah.
and mouthwash and all these different products, even to the point now where they have fluoride treatment.
Yeah.
And back then, when you it's not even that long ago, 40, 50 years ago, when you go back and you look at what was going on in that time, you can look at the newspaper articles and you can see what was going on at that time. People were like, bro, we put fluoride in poison for raccoons and possums. Why would we put that in our, right? And then when you look at the history of how did the fluoride actually get in these products, you have a company that's manufacturing a product where the fluoride is like it's a waste product of whatever it is they were manufacturing. I don't remember. And they had all this fluoride they had to dump. They had to get rid of. So they were like dumping it in these reservoirs that they were creating, but they were like leaching. It was like leaching into the groundwater. People were getting sick and cancer. You know what I mean? All this craziness happening. And then they had this guy, this PR guy, come in and manipulate the whole country with commercials and ads and even strong arming dentists and pretty much saying, look, not the PR guy, but the government saying, look,
right.
if you don't go with what we're saying, you won't be able to practice. You know what I mean? And so that's the beginning of it. No one sees that. No one sees the beginning of it. We just see 15, 20 years later, and this is the standard. Everyone's forgotten. All the dentists that were there at the time, they're dead or too old to practice. So we've forgotten about it. It doesn't take long to make people forget. They're doing it now. They're doing it right now in the children's education with the whole slavery thing. We were taught that we were brought over from Africa and we were slaves. Now they're saying that they were indentured servants.
Nani?
They're changing the history books as we speak. And see, this is my point. You don't even know that. In the time of, this is the day of information, the information age. And you don't even know they're doing that. So how easy is it? So then the children that come up are thinking, oh yeah, they're indentured servants. You think people were slaves, and you don't even know they made the switch. That's how easy it is. This is my point.
That's wild. That is wild. I mean, it's not unexpected, but it's definitely wild. Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I know that they're changing. I know they changed curriculums as far as like math and how you add the numbers and stuff.
You can't change history.
You can't change history, man. It's just like me fighting with somebody. I know why I fought with this person, and then like 10 years later, they give me a completely total different reason, and I'm the one at fault.
Right.
So.
And even with the math, it's like, why are you changing the way that they do? Terrence Howard.
Dude, I want information on him. Like, I want to see what he's doing.
I know, right? He's real quiet right now. Terrence Howard has that book, 1 × 1 = 2 or something like that. He gave an amazing example about there's a difference between money and numbers. Mm-hmm. If we say $1 is the same as 1 digit,
right?
But it's not. I can't really remember the example, but it was something along the lines of interest. He was talking about how he was basically saying 25% of $1 is a quarter. Man, I'll mess this up. It was so good though. Y'all just need to find Terrence Howard. He addressed.
Oh, with the college students, right?
I think it was Harvard or Oxford. He addressed them. And in there, he gave this example, and it was about interest and how digits and money, they're not the same thing, and how you can manipulate people's bank accounts with these numbers and interest because it all works out on paper, but in reality, you're losing money.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. I'm just like, bruh. Now, I figured this out to a degree a while ago because I was just like, wait a minute. They're teaching us 1 + 1 = 2, but a woman and a man equals a baby.
That's 3.
So that's 3.
Right.
And then I was as I was doing more research, I was finding out that what science actually says is that depending on what type of science you're talking about, what reality, what realm, what dimension you're talking about, the rules change. And I'm like, bruh, are you serious? You know what I'm saying? Because we were taught definitively that 1 + 1 = 2. And 1 times 0 = 0. How? Where did the other dollar go?
Right.
Oh, that was part of the example that he gave. It was just like, he said, if 1 times 0 = 1. No. He said
0.
Huh?
I said 1 times 0 is always 0, right?
Yeah, 1 times 0 is always 0. It was if 1 times 1 = 1. He was like, then you and your friend give me $1 and I'll give you 1 back. That's what he said. Because 1 times 1 = 1. That's what he said. I was like, bruh, he just destroyed them. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, you did see it. Yeah. So it's just like, this math is crazy. And then pi. Pi is 3.14 infinity.
Yeah.
But in reality, you can't have an infinite number. So pi doesn't exist. Pi is a symbol. We deal with symbolism, but that's a problem. That's problematic because a symbol can be changed and manipulated. X is a symbol. X times Y = B. What? What even is that? You know, they've changed our language from a concrete language to the symbolic language so that now we don't communicate well. It is crazy. Like, the big picture is crazy. So that's why I get all excited about it, because I'm just like, I watched the manipulation happen. It's like I put those glasses on that allow you to see the truth.
Yeah.
And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So when I see a Joe Rogan do that, I'm like, oh, he's bought and paid for. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
So you're making a decision that you're going to take this money and be a good guy and do whatever you can to live a nice comfort. And I don't blame him. Shoot, $300 million a year, $400 million, whatever the crap he's making. Okay, enjoy yourself, man. Have all the custom cars you want. Be the biggest name in podcasts, whatever. That's cool. But what are you doing for humanity? Like, what is Joe Rogan? How is Joe Rogan improving the lives of others? I ain't talking about no fundraising. I'm not talking about charity.
Nah.
Even evil people do that. How is he on a fundamental level? How is he affecting the social economics of, quote unquote minorities?
Well, the stocks for Spotify went up 11%.
So anybody who had the extra money to invest in that made a nice little bump.
Yeah.
And anybody who had the inside information that he was going to get that knew. So basically he helped the rich get richer. Good example. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's I just think it's all interesting to know. I mean, I know your ears perk up a bit because of you're interested in science. Like, that's your thing. For me, I'm just interested to know, like same thing with politics. Like, I'm not into politics like that, but I'm interested in learning and understanding people's perspectives and
politics. I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off. I know I'm
No. Hey, do your thing, man.
Donald Trump did the slickest thing in the history of man.
Oh, what did Donald Trump do?
First of all, people out there who see Donald as this racist bigot that's just dumb. Listen, you don't amass the amount of popularity and money that man has being stupid.
Yeah.
He is so intelligent. He says stuff, he sounds stupid. But he took over the Federal Reserve. Now, this is something that people have been killed over.
Right.
Now, I don't know the big picture. I don't know if it's all a facade, but the way it looks now is he took over the Federal Reserve. People don't know the Federal Reserve is not a government agency.
It's a company.
It's a company. It's an outside entity. The central bankers control all of the major countries. And the countries that they can't control, they tell you that they have an evil dictator and blah, 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 so you can go in there and get them. But he basically brought the Treasury, the Federal Reserve into the Treasury in the White House, and then appointed one of his buddies to like watch what they're doing. But when JFK did it, he tried to print, I think they were called greenbacks. It was like American dollars, like actual United States money. They killed him. What's that dude's name? Gaddafi or whatever? It's an African president. Tried to do it not too long ago, and they killed him. They said he was evil. He's a dictator. Da 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 da. It's like, how is it that everybody?
Oh, okay. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
Everybody who tries to create their own money system within the country for the people, somehow they're all evil and they need to be killed. They're all dictators. They're got sex trafficking. All of this stuff comes out about them, and it's interesting because when you think about money, especially right now with all of the money that's being infused, the $1,200 stimulus checks for everybody, all of this money, it's like...
Shit, they supposed to be coming out with another one, I heard.
Correct. They're working on another one now. It's like, wait a minute. Every single dollar that is printed, every dollar, we start with $0, and then they print $1, and then we have $1 that's in circulation, but it comes with 10% interest. So... if every dollar that's printed has 10% interest attached to it, it's impossible to pay it back.
Yeah.
It's impossible. The only way that you could pay it back is China has $1, and Africa has $1, and I'm naming continents now. Nigeria has $1, and whatever. And so we got $1 and they all have dollars, and we owe 10% on our dollar. So if we go take China's dollar, now we have $2, we could pay them back, but now China's in debt. See what I'm saying?
Oh, so it'll be an ending.
It's never ending. It's
Yeah.
impossible. So that's why you have some countries who are balanced, like China, and some countries that aren't, like the United States, because it's impossible. The central bankers control it. It's the perfect manipulation. So all this money's being printed, and there's interest attached. And the interest is really what kills us. It's like if you buy a house for $100,000, at the end of the day, 30 years, you're going to spend $240,000 for that same house. Why? Because you could earn $100,000 in just a few years. If you save $5,000 or $10,000 a year, or whatever the case may be, whatever your payment is, it's not hard to. In 10 years, you can have $100,000 if you're paying $10,000 a year, which most people's mortgages be that much. Like,
Yeah.
Where is all the money go? It's all interest. The interest is coming from the central bankers. So if we make our own money and there's no interest attached, we could pay a house off in 10 years. That'd be light work. It would be easy to, have multiple homes and, with student loan payments. For example, people are paying $1,200 a month for student loans because they've got $100,000 of debt, student loans, and most of that's going to interest. They'll never pay it off. And a lot of them are on these plans where it's like, $200-300 a month, and it's interest only payments. It'll never happen. You look at credit card debt. If you have a credit card with $20,000 on it and you pay the minimum payment, because most of the money is going towards interest, it might take you 36 years to pay off $20,000.
Yeah.
Interest is the problem. So if we start printing our own money that we don't attach interest to, because why? Now all of a sudden our economy is amazing. You know what I mean? Like, we're not being controlled and manipulated by the central bankers. We don't have to go to war for them. Like, we're not chasing money. We're not fighting China and fighting all these other people for no reason, because we are self-sustaining.
But do you not think that they know that?
Who is that?
The people that's with that controls the banking systems and that prints our money.
Correct. They know that. There was a back in the day, it was illegal. I think it was the Catholic Church made it illegal to charge interest because of this. We understand. Thomas Jefferson talked about, allowing foreign entities or whatever the case may be to print money for us and things like that. People know. The only ones that don't know are the general populace. They don't know. So they allow these things to happen. If the general populace knew, and this is the type of stuff, it's like if you're Joe Rogan and you have this platform, these things are not far out concepts. We're not talking about rocket science. We're talking about, wait a minute, the Federal Reserve is like Walmart. So Walmart is printing our money and charging us interest on our money, but we are a country. We are proud. We are Americans. Why don't we just print our own money? That's all Joe Rogan has to say. He reaches millions of followers and listeners every day. Mm-hmm. All he has to do is be like, why don't we print our own money? Now people are like, wait a minute. The Federal Reserve that's not us? Wait a minute. That's the reason why we have inflation? Oh, so inflation isn't just a normal part? So the fact that I put my money in a bank account and over the span of 10 years, it decreases in value by $60,000 or $40,000. That's not just normal. That's being done on purpose. There are people that are manipulating the markets. Wait a minute. So then why don't we just do our own stuff? See what I'm saying? This is why I don't trust people like Joe Rogan. How do you have a platform that big and you are this intelligent, you're bringing all these experts in, and you're not addressing these sorts of issues? It only takes one episode, So
I definitely wouldn't be able to see him doing something like that.
No. You know why? Because Spotify is paying him, and YouTube is paying him, and YouTube's owned by Google, and Google's owned by who? Look, my phone's listening to me now.
Because you said Google. You can turn it off, though. I mean, even though you turn it off, it's still on.
It's still on.
Yeah. I got a Google Mini up there that, I just bought my new whip, and they sent that to me. But I'll probably give it away because I have no use for it.
Give it away now.
For my little video gaming thing. You know what's funny? I think it's cool that you have that that you're able to see things on a different light, because I see the same thing. Like I'll listen to a conservative speaker or a liberal speaker or whatever. And it's funny because I'm talking to this lady and she is not from this country. And so she came here and she's just like, why is everything so divided? Like, she's like, everything's so divided. Like, I go to a bar and there's just nothing but like white people here. And I go to one particular area, this only Mexicans, or I go to this one part, it's only like black people. Like, is it like this throughout Dallas? And I was just like, I said, well, what part of town do you live in? And she lives in Uptown, and like it's a fairly nicer area. And so she, like, all her neighbors are white. And I said, that's just how it is in the country. I said, this is the way the system has been set up. So if you're living in this good neighborhood and you're surrounded by a majority of white people, I said, they're the ones who have majority of the wealth, especially within Texas.
Right.
This is a conservative state or so, but that's how it was designed. And if you go to these impoverished neighborhoods, you'll get majority black people, And she said, that's so sad. It shouldn't be like that. I was just like, true, but that's just the way the world is. I said,
no, that's the way we are.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's the way it is in U.S. I keep saying world. I need to stop saying that. It's just, but I don't mean like the world. The world. But yeah, I said that's how it is in America. That's exactly how it is in America. I said, depends on where you go in the city. Maybe you'll find some mixed crowds, but majority of the time it's going to be one particular group of people, and then maybe a few sprinkled in, but they'll never be like a New York. like
Right.
New York or California, where it's just like a melting pot
Right.
of different cultures. And so to hear her perspective, it's like, okay, because she watches the news, and had a conversation with her. I said, I don't watch the news. I said, what benefits do I have to watching the news? You know, I said, it's not doing anything but reaffirming all the negative things, or it gives biased commentary on someone else's perspective about anything. You turn on the news, they don't tell you anything good. They focus on all the negative stuff. They just constantly keeping you in a state of fear. They're not doing that to help you. They're doing that for that ratings, and they doing that so you can constantly be fearful. Like, and she said but she watches like BBC or whatever, and I was like, I'm not even familiar with the hell that is.
It's the same. I mean, it's better, but it's the same.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay. I said, I can see, because she said, what was that? A tornado that happened in New Orleans? I was just like, oh, hurricane. Talking about hurricane. And she said, yeah, hurricane that happened. I was like, okay. I said, knowing that is good, but what is that going to do for you? Like, what is that doing for you? Like, me knowing that, okay, but if a hurricane happens, like, I don't necessarily need to watch the news to know that, because it's going, like, somehow I'm going to know about it.
Right.
Like I figured it out. All these viruses and diseases that happen, I figured it out without watching the news, or it somehow came to me. It'll get to me somehow, you know, if it's really something that's detrimental to my life or something that's going to affect me. And I get that people go through these struggles, and that people go through all these ups and downs throughout life. And it's beneficial to know, but if it's not affecting my life in some form or fashion, or affecting the people that's in my life, there's literally no point of me knowing about it.
Right.
Because I have no control over anything that they do out there. If they decide they want to shut down the world, they will do that. I have no control over that or so. And one more thing before we wrap up. There was this video that the Haas twins posted on their channel, and they posted this video. It was this black guy, and he was talking to this they're girls. They're like teenagers or so. And this black guy was talking to this black chick, and the black dude, he said, it was like a crowd of mixed people, like black people, white people, and, you know, just a crowd of people. And the black dude, he was like, I'm an American. And everyone was just like, oh, they laughing and like, oh, like, he was like, I'm an American. I'm not an African American. I've never been to Africa. I was born here. I'm an American. I'm an American. And then, like, the black chick, her response was that we are, you know, descendants from Africa, and that we identify as African, so we are African Americans. And I was just like, we are American. It's like,
Yeah, that's brainwashed.
yeah, I was just like, I can't believe that people are actually thinking that.
Yep.
I'm just like, no, what old boy was talking about was right. Like, he's literally right, and everyone else was going against him. I'm just like, it's so backwards to me. Like, we've never been there. You know, they say we've come from this, and they say this and that, but where were you born? What land were you born in? What land? We're from America, so we're American. So
By definition.
by definition. So saying we're African American is another way to separate people.
Correct.
Like, white people don't say I'm European American.
Correct.
They don't say I'm Irish American or whatever the hell.
I'm an American. I'm from America.
Yeah, you know, it's, and the fact that people constantly, like, I don't say I'm African American. You know, I try not to even say that I'm black. You know,
Right.
I try not to even do that. But it's just, we've grown up in,
ingrained.
yeah, it's in me. But I just thought that was very interesting. But he was a young boy too.
Good.
You know,
Good. Shows you the mind of a young man.
yeah,
Yeah, my thing is this. Before the 60s, what were we called? We weren't called African American.
Mm-hmm.
That's new. So you're sitting up here arguing with somebody talking about we African American. That's where we came from. We were stolen off Africa, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, bro, your ancestors on this land didn't even call themselves African Americans. What are you talking about? We've been African American, black, Negro, mulatto, colored. We've been everything under the sun. You know what I mean? So why do you feel so strongly in this term African American? Have you done any research? People sound real smart, but it's like you're just listening to someone else. You didn't do any of your own research. I know that because like you're so strong about this identification that it's like you think that's how it's always been. If you've done any research, you know it wasn't even that long ago when we weren't called that. We were called Negro. Or whatever the case may be.
Yes, you know what's funny? Well, not funny, but when I went back home and to Cincinnati, I looked at my mom's birth certificate and it says Negro on there. I was just like, what? I said, this is wild. I think because the birth certificate looked completely different. Yeah. You know, I'm just like, this is wild. They actually had Negro on there.
Yes. If you look at the census, that's a good place to find this, and you could see how people were identified and how it changed. We are only recently called African American. You have to understand that that's not happenstance. Like that's for a very particular reason. Obviously, it's divisive. That's one obvious thing. But yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it earlier. I'm like, next time somebody says I'm black, I'm gonna ask them what the color of my skin is. Does my skin look black to you? Or no, it looks brown or caramel. I said, so then why are you calling me black? These beads are black. This is black. My hair isn't even black. My hair is dark brown. Nothing about me is black. My eyes aren't black. There's no black on me. But how are we black? That doesn't even make sense. So I in my mind, I think of myself as indigenous. That's how I think of myself, because at least it's not one of the cookie cutter classifications. It's the least likely most thing that people believe they are when they're black or whatever. Indigenous, they don't think that, you know. But I don't even necessarily want to claim being an American, because there's so much about this being a citizen of this country that I don't agree with. Yeah. You know, so I just rather be indigenous.
Indigenous, well, hey, we're all indigenous. I would rather be a Saiyan. You know,
Saiyans are white, bro. Like, what is wrong with you?
Not all Saiyans. They're different shades. Some are lighter.
Shades of white.
Some are darker. Some are lighter.
It's like Italians, Irish, and
or it's like Cuban, like Cubana. You know, Cubano.
Olive skin. You know? I haven't seen a black Saiyan.
They're out there.
Maybe in the next time.
Maybe in the next Dragon Ball Super. We'll see. Hey, but make sure y'all subscribe to our channel. Share the channel. You know what I mean? Get some good content going on. Healthy alternative. Y'all already know about that. You know what I mean? Hey, I see no socks too. I didn't know you had socks.
I got everything, baby.
Man,
I got those little things that go on the back of the phone that you use to hold it.
The clip thingies?
Push these or Scott socks or whatever. I got those too.
How high those socks go up? Like,
oh, they're high. They go up.
Oh, son. Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, I want to get some of those socks. I didn't realize you had those. Are they still on sale?
Yeah, they're on in the Teespring store. Underneath the any of the videos, you'll see the Teespring.
Oh, okay, yeah. Damn, yeah. I saw those socks. Like, damn, those socks are pretty hard. Is it only white? Is the only color?
I think so. I was just thinking, I'm like, man, these are hard to keep clean. I should make a black. I should make a black sock.
Or red or something, you know.
Or red.
Yeah.
I might have red.
Like socks. That color. That color would be dope. I like that color.
Yeah, I have to see, man. There's so many options, and I just be lazy about my store. Like, I really just need somebody to go in there design all my stuff.
Yeah.
For real. I got leggings. I got backpacks. I got hats.
Leggings? Mm-hmm. That'd be a nice little look for a honey dip.
Yeah. Actually, they are pretty nice. Ain't nobody bought them like $40-something.
Oh man. Well, if I end up finding a honey dip, you know what I mean?
She gonna be walking.
I got you, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, appreciate you all for tuning in. We will see you beautiful people next week.
Peace.
And you all have a beautiful day. Peace and love.